So, hi, good evening, everyone. I'm audible and my screen is also visible. If it's all set, you can just give yes response in the chat window. Just writing it everything. Okay, I'm be sharing this all whiteboard thing from today onwards, right? Okay, I hope I'm very much audible and whatever history or the dashboard thing will be there. I'll be sharing in this GitHub repo and definitely the blog site that where I posted that question. I don't know how many of you have given the answer, but you need to comment it. So if you can check problem 1 and 2. So some answer is not something like this you have to comment. So you have to follow the method like see this one. Okay. So we have Python 3 challenge in the downs, right? And here you can see how people have posted things. So for example, if you go for Python 3, then here are the questions, these are the problems, and the solution you have to post of your GitHub exact URL, because we have a script that will check your answer automatically, right? So like see, second is pending and likewise. So always write your answer by testing in your GitHub account, then paste here. So you can see how people have posted. Anyway, so you'll be in practice. So I think I'm audible. Okay, great. So today we are going to talk about very interesting topic. Generally people used to use this topic in this own scripting way. Anyway, so what we have discussed is very basic command. I'm just revising it everything. So this is my Fedora machine, and where this is my terminal. As we discussed, everything we are discussing, like in command line or in graphical, is fine. So this is my terminal, and I'm just using this date command. So very simple one, that one we used, cal also, and whatever we learn, it is written in this history. Okay, so questions and their answer is very much important. Okay, so first of all, we are going to talk about file system architecture of Linux based operating system, right? File system architecture, what does that mean? That simply means if I'm a normal user of any operating system, let's say normal or admin user also, so I have root account in my Fedora, and if I want to create something, create either file or folder, doesn't matter, file or folder or any other things, if I want to create this, question is where it will be saved. Okay, this is one thing. So that planning is a part of file system architecture. Or maybe second example, for example, if I am installing a software, I am installing a software. So when I install a software, what are the locations where my software data will be pasted, okay, or will be saved? So that planning is also coming under file system architecture. Okay, let me take it in another way. For example, when you install any software in Windows, where all this data is going to store. So to understand the file system of architecture of Linux, I'm taking the example of Windows based OS. Let's say I'm taking Windows 10. Okay, so in Windows 10 you have almost everything about your operating system under C drive. Okay, that means anything about your operating system, it will be present under C drive in general, right? Just ignore D drive or any other hard disk that you have. So operating system is generally getting installed under this. It's not a hard coded rule, but it's a by default one. Okay, when I want to understand the architecture of C drive or Windows based OS, architecture means what are files and folder present here. So if you see the most important folder called users, or like Windows, or like system32, and many more like that, system32, these are some folders that is already present in your Windows OS. So what I'm saying is, if you double click your Windows C drive, you will see all these folders. Okay, now every folder has a subfolder. For example, this folder is also having some folder name, let's say folder 1, folder 2, and so on. Similarly, this also. Okay, so what I'm saying is, the way Windows organize these names and folder, that planning is your file system architecture. Okay, now as a Microsoft user, if I install VLC media player of the exe file, right, exe file, when I double click it, if you have seen, when you double click this file, installation means this software having number of files and folder. Once you install this, all these files and folder will be stored. Some of them are storing here or here or here or here, anywhere. So that planning is also a part of file system architecture. That means when we design an operating system for the first time, we have to plan. A double click to install a software by any user will lead to some default locations. Maybe here Windows is storing its driver. Maybe Windows here storing all the users, kind of information. So that is the architecture, okay, about any operating system planning. Okay, if you are understanding this, just say yes in the chat window, because I really need to take it very slow, otherwise it will be very much weird. Okay, so if you all are understanding it, then I can proceed to the next architecture. Okay, you will be also understanding why we need this and why it is very much important. Okay, fine. So I believe maximum people are understanding, and I'm just moving on. Okay, coming back to Linux again. So I'm just going back here, and I'm talking about Linux based OS. Never say Linux as an operating system, Linux based OS. Now specifically I'm taking Fedora. Okay, but in any Linux based OS, the architecture will be same in 99.999999% cases. Okay, so if I wanna compare it with Windows directly, that will be great comparison. So I have Windows 10 here, I have any Linux based OS here. I repeat, don't confuse here. We are using Fedora, but it can be any Linux flavor, right? So like in Windows, everything is installed under C drive. Here everything is installed under slash. It's also a drive or partition, whatever you call it. C, and so you can compare it at the same level. How you can see this in your Fedora OS? So if I go there and I log into my root account, and if I access my file system, this is my file system, and once I go to other location under my computer, see, this is my computer, so this location is slash. Okay, it's very much similar to this. So slash means where your entire operating system got installed. How I can check the same thing from command line? Okay, if I want to see some data, name of file and folder under some location, so from the command line you can always use ls, but you need to give a location. So you are just calling to ls command, please show me the content that is located under slash. Okay, so sorry, I'm just going there and enter. If you can analyze, it has a number of directories, and that is quite very similar to this bin boot dev. You see here bin boot boot and dev. Okay, so that means clicking on the my computer side and my computer of this here under computer keyword is very much similar to doing ls and slash command. So ऐसा मान लो कि ls is a program and you are asking for a location, तो ls command यहाँ पे जाएगी और इसका content दिखा देगी. Simple. Okay, so I hope it will be very understood. Okay, now let's talk about some most important folders. We definitely cannot talk about all as of now. So in Microsoft Windows we have a very important folder called users. Okay, and what is the use of this user folder? Any kind of user account you are going to create. For example, you are creating a user called Jack. So what Windows will do, it will go to C drive users folder and create another folder with the name of user. If you create another folder, another user like John, right? So as an administrator, what you did, you logged into your Windows and you go to your control panel and then you created two accounts. So Jack, John, and one folder, let's say call it administrator. It can also be there, administrator. Okay, so I think you need to understand or figure it out. Whenever you create user in Microsoft Windows, it is going to choose this users folder under C directory and create the folder of those usernames. Okay, so similarly in the next also there will be something like that. So let's say if you go to your Fedora operating system and you create a user account, then under slash we have a folder called home. Okay, under slash we have a folder called home. Under home it will be creating, let's say you created Jack, so it will be creating a folder by the name of Jack. Likewise John, right? So what you can compare it, C drive with slash and user folder with home. Okay, if you have Microsoft Windows right now, you can cross check it. If you want to see the home under slash, so I'm just going back to Fedora and here, see, this is my slash. I have this home folder. Under home I have fire account. That means in general whatever folder name you can give here it is, and something like this. If you go to ls command and ask for slash, it will give you the list of slash. But also you can ask you want home data, so you are connecting to ask command. मतलब ऐसा है कि आप ls command एक इंसान है, इससे बोल रहे हो कि स्लैश के अंदर एक होम फोल्डर है, इसके अंदर का डेटा दिखा दो. Boom, see, and the username जो फोल्डर दिखा, this is one of my account that I created. Okay, so I hope the first directory of Linux is very much understood for understanding purpose. It's very much understood. Simply means this kind of thing we are also calling in any operating system like a directory structure. ओके, सो यदि आपको ये समझ में आ गया बिल्कुल अच्छे तरीके से, सो यू कैन respond here in the chat window that yes, there is no confusion. It means आज के बाद ऐसा कुछ कसम खा लो कि होम फोल्डर को आप कभी नहीं भूलने वाले, right? So just respond here in the chat window in a very quick way that you are understanding it very well, the use of home folder in Linux. Okay, now I'm going to tell you some use cases. For example, आपसे लोग हजारों और लाखों लोग पूछेंगे that एक इंटरव्यू में क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था मुझसे when I was in my third year, sorry, final year. I appeared in Red Hat India and got selected. उन्होंने मुझसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछा कि I have 100 users, I need to plan a backup for them. तो क्या आप कुछ तरीका या कोई टूल बता सकते हो क्या, so that we can take a backup of all 100 user? And the very simple answer is, in Red Hat based or operating system, I said कि आप पूरा /home को उठा के किसी हार्ड डिस्क में कॉपी कर दो, सिंपल. सो अगर आपसे कोई पूछे कि हाउ कैन वी टेक अ बैकअप of all the users present in my Red Hat or any Linux based operating system, so you can take a backup of home folder. मतलब आप इसे copy and paste कर दो हार्ड डिस्क में. बट यहाँ पे एक एक्सेप्शन है, that is except root account. That means if you copy all the data of home folder to some new hard disk, it is not going to take a backup of root account. Okay, hopefully this will be very much understood. Similarly, if you want to take a backup of Windows based user as well, what you have to do is just take this user folder and paste it somewhere in a new hard disk. Okay, इसका एक और मतलब ये भी है, for example, if now you are going to log in with the jack user in Linux, so everything will be stored under home jack. Okay, तो मैं एक और चीज़ इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूँ. बैकअप वाली स्टोरी आई होप समझ में आ गई होगी, राइट? आई एम गोइंग डाउन and what I'm saying is, every user in any operating system has its home place. When I say home place, the user has a space where it can create, delete, modify anything. Okay, so in Windows, if someone is gonna ask what is home place of student user, you must say under C drive there is a folder called users. Under users folder there is a folder called student. So this is a home place of student user in Microsoft Windows. Okay, rather than calling it home place, because the place is a folder. Okay, place is a folder. So folder बोलो या directory बोलो, directory, everything is same. So some people also calling it what is home directory of student user in Windows. So you need to give that path. Under C drive there is a user folder. Under user folder we have a student. What if people gonna ask about Linux? You must say under / we have a home folder. Under home folder we have a student folder. Okay, so if you talk about the entire path /home /student, okay, I'll be talking more about this / writing, but अगर आपसे कोई पूछे कि स्टूडेंट यूज़र का होम प्लेस या होम डायरेक्टरी लिनक्स के अंदर क्या है, तो वो होगा ये, विंडोज़ में क्या है ये, राइट. And this is really very important. I'm telling you, maximum people who are the beginner of Linux, they got confused with the home directory in multiple operating system. Okay, इससे मैं आपको Windows Linux एक साथ लेके चल रहा हूँ. Okay, so if this point is also very much fine, then you can say yes. और प्लीज़ आपके जो भी क्वेश्चंस हैं, I'll make a list, you know, आपके जो भी क्वेश्चंस हैं, सो अंडर दिस डिस्कॉर्ड वी हैव अ क्यूए सेशन. नहीं है तो बन जाएगा, उसमें आप आके क्वेश्चन पोस्ट कर दो, या फिर वो क्वेश्चन आपको मैं कुछ मेंटोर बता देता हूँ, उनको पोस्ट कर दो, और वो लोग एक क्यूए में पोस्ट कर देंगे. मैं वहाँ पे सबके आंसर डाल दूँगा, because it is really impossible to answer all the questions in the real time. Okay, so इस सेशन का थोड़ा फ्लो दम मज़ा नहीं आएगा. आप समझ गए? तो आपको जो मेंटर्स की लिस्ट में दे रहा हूँ, यहाँ से आप उठा लो. हर्ष है, पीयूष है, रिदम है, श्रेया है, रिया है, जो भी है मैं लिस्ट दे दूँगा, और इनको आप क्वेश्चन दे दो, और ये एक QA कोई भी यहाँ पे ग्रुप होगा या बता देंगे, एंड यहाँ पे आप अपने जो क्वेश्चन यूट्यूब पे डाल रहे हो यहाँ डाल देना. Fine. Then once I finish this session, I'll answer all those. Okay, with proper logic. Anyway, wonderful.